Well, we in South Carolina have a special claim on the Declaration of Independence and the Revolutionary War. And we are here today to pronounce a declaration of thanksgiving and celebration of the history of this country, the role we have played in the remarkable document known as the Declaration of Independence. This begins South Carolina's celebration of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And I'm honored to stand here today with President Alexander, Speaker Smith, and Chief Justice Kittredge as South Carolina says thank you with one voice for this great document and celebrates this important part of our unique heritage. And I'd like to remind everyone that the Declaration of Independence is one of the greatest documents in human history. So is the Constitution. So, of course, is the Bible. The Declaration of Independence beautifully combines the political theory of self-government with the decisive action of breaking free from tyrannical government. Now, a lot of people don't understand what that means. But up until that moment in the history of this world, there had not been, except in Greece, there had not been any examples of self-government by the people. That's a new concept. Some people don't realize today because they don't think about how important it is. But just for example, we broke away from the king and kings, but there are people today that would love to have self-government. For example, those in Iran. That's a great example today of not having self-government by the people. If those people in the streets had it their way, the world would be a different place. And it is the United States that was created by these documents that is leading the way to see that the rest of the world has it that way, as we do. The Declaration, of course, did not secure our independence. That came after a long, bloody war, a war that we know was won here in South Carolina. So all states, of course, did not participate in the Revolutionary War. Why? Because they weren't here. There were 13 colonies. We did the work. We laid the groundwork with these documents, and we wrote it down. A long battle that was won here. More than 200 battles and skirmishes were fought in this state, more than any other state, and they're consequential here. Following Hook's defeat at Williamson's Farm, where just a handful of patriots realized that they could, in fact, defeat these British regulars with their red coats and bayonets on their rifles over 2 feet long. Can you imagine? And then that was followed by Kings Mountain and then the Battle of Cowpens, which ended it. If you read the books, you see that Sir Henry Clinton, who was in charge of all of the military, and Lord Cornwallis, who was in charge in the Southern campaign, both realized after those battles it was over. And they said so. They said, we cannot defeat South Carolina. We cannot defeat. The Southern campaign is over. And they went back up north and the final battles were held. It is a remarkable document, as is our Constitution, which is short and easy to read. And I urge everyone to do so and celebrate this freedom. The Declaration put us on the path to government by the people, but it took long, bloody war and hardship to get us there. Think of the courage it took for those 56 men to sign that declaration knowing that they were signing potentially their death warrant. And history shows that they did suffer as a result, but it accomplished their goal, which was a free, new, beautiful country. And we today are the beneficiaries of their courage and their work. And that is why it is important for us, particularly in South Carolina, because of our unique role that we have played, our people have played in the creation and strengthening of this country, that it is important and noble and justified for us to celebrate as we are doing today. President Alexander.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor, and good afternoon. It is a privilege to stand with the leaders from our state's 3 branches of government to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There is something powerful about this moment, that the people across South Carolina see the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch all standing together in a common purpose. That alone sends an important message. We share the same oath and the same responsibility to ensure that the great American experience endures for generations to come. Walter Isaacson recently wrote that the Declaration contains what he calls the greatest sentence ever crafted by human hand. A sentence drafted by a 5-member committee including Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams that changed the course of human history. This is the sentence that he refers to. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What we have today in South Carolina and in this nation is rooted in those very words. They were seeds planted in 1776, seeds watered and nurtured by the blood, sweat, and tears of every American generation that followed. Those words declared that rights do not come from a king, but from our Creator, that our government does not grant liberty, it exists to secure it. Folks, that was a revolutionary idea in 1776, and it remains so today. But those principles endure only if we together remain faithful to them. John Hancock warned that we must all hang together, or as Benjamin Franklin added, or we shall all hang separately. That truth has not faded in 250 years. Hanging together means that despite our differences, each branch of government must remain committed to ensuring that the ideals set forth in the Declaration, protecting life, preserving liberty, and defending the opportunity to pursue happiness. That is our solemn duty. So as we begin the celebration of this anniversary, we pause not only to honor the courage of those who signed their names to history and to America's future, but we renew our own commitment to protecting and shepherding forward the ideals they proclaimed. May we prove worthy of the inheritance entrusted to us. And may another generation, 250 years from now, gather to celebrate not only the great sentence, the greatest sentence ever written, but the faithfulness of those who carry its promise forward. May God continue to bless the great state of South Carolina and its people and these United States of America. Indeed, it is a privilege to stand here on behalf of the Senate of South Carolina to participate in this celebration today. And now it's a great honor to present to you a friend and the Speaker of the House, Speaker Murrell Smith. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is an honor for me on behalf of the South Carolina House of Representatives to stand here to celebrate this important date and this important time that we have, the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Moments like this remind us that history isn't something that's distant. Rather, it is something that we've inherited and something that we are responsible for carrying forward. 250 years ago, a small group of citizens made an extraordinary decision. They didn't simply protest the circumstances. They declared a new way of government built on the belief that people could and should rule themselves. This is the idea that changed the world. The United States Declaration of Independence was written to tell the most powerful empire on earth that America would choose liberty over fear. What I appreciate most about this is it all began with principles, the principle of self-governance and that the belief in the people and not into politics. And here in South Carolina, those principles still are not abstract to us today. They were defended in our towns in the 1770s. They were defended in our fields and most importantly in our communities. And our state just didn't witness the revolution. Our state won the revolution. And our job is to protect those founding principles and not to reshape them to fit the moment. And the men who signed the Declaration in 1976 showed tremendous courage. They showed bravery. And you just heard, as the Senate President said, they probably signed their own death warrant. But the courage that we're called to show today may look different, but it's just as important as it's ever been in the history of this state. It's the courage to lead with integrity, to defend liberty, and to put the good of the people first before anything else. And that's why the signing of the Declaration of Independence and celebration is most meaningful. It's our way to say we remember, we're grateful, and we remain committed in the same ideals that launched this nation 250 years ago. I'm proud to stand here today with these elected officials. I'm proud to be a part of this ceremony and look forward to the continuing to celebrate the principles that began in 1776. So I want to introduce the architect of today and the person who has led the effort to make sure that we all remember this wonderful document and this living history of my friend, Chief Justice John Kittredge.
On behalf of the judicial branch of South Carolina, I thank these outstanding leaders of our state, Governor McMaster, Senate President Alexander, Speaker of the House Smith, for we have come together to express our profound gratitude for the enduring principles set forth in our nation's Declaration of Independence. I echo the remarks of my friends as we assemble here in the very halls of South Carolina government to honor this historic moment. To all South Carolinians, each of us here is honored and humbled to serve you. I offer three brief comments. First, we invite you to join with us in reflecting on, with grateful hearts, the freedoms we enjoy in America. Freedoms ingrained in our Judeo-Christian founding that find their initial expression in the Declaration of Independence. A central part of this invitation must include our schools and universities and a return to true civics education. Second, never forget the core, profound truths that shaped our designed system of government. As President Alexander alluded to, those familiar words, all people are created equal. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. And foremost among the rights of the people, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We must all be vigilant so that the initial design is truly reflected in how we govern and not some elusive, distant, aspirational goal. My third and final point is an admonition that those of us in government must never forget our solemn and sacred obligation to serve the people from whom we derive our just powers. And citizens also. Citizens, too, have a duty that the people never forget their solemn and sacred obligation to revere, respect, and uphold the Declaration of Independence, the rule of law, and our constitutional republic by engaging and participating in the political process. To the people of South Carolina, this is your government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice. As we prepare to sign our declaration, I will read the first and last paragraphs of that declaration. We, the heads of the three branches of government of the state of South Carolina, do hereby jointly declare our thanksgiving for and celebration of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In marking this milestone, we take the opportunity to reflect on the enduring significance of the Declaration and the legacy forged by its principles. We invite our fellow South Carolinians to join us in reflecting on and expressing gratitude for the Declaration on this historic occasion. In a spirit of thanksgiving and remembrance, we honor the Declaration for the timeless truths it proclaims, the enduring principles it entrusts to us, the sacrifice it embodies, and the nation it brought forth. As John Adams wrote to his wife Abigail in July 1776, the Declaration of Independence should be, quote, celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary, end quote, of America's founding. That is what we do here today. With faith in Almighty God's guiding providence, we celebrate this defining moment in history and commit ourselves together to the principles of liberty, equality, and self-government and resolve to carry them forward for the generations to come. Gentlemen, if you will.
have